Just Puzzling. My name is Chris. Today we're going to do a Killer Sudoku at the expert level. Let's get into it. Alright, for all of you that know and have watched my videos before, you see that I try and do this best without notes. This has been my choice and how I work around it, but it's just what I enjoy doing. Let me know in the comments if you would get some training out of me putting notes in and explaining it. Now, the other thing that I'm looking for at the moment is what I call loose cages. So this here is a box for the 1 to 9 box. And unfortunately, there's no loose cage. They're all contained. And if you have a look at this, it's 19 plus 3 is 22 plus 23 is 45. So that adds up. And that's the addition of 1 through to 9, adding up to 45. That's my rule of 45 that I call it. What I have here is I've got a couple of loose boxes. One is here. You can see here, that is what I call a loose cage. So if I add up 11 plus 11 is 22 plus 13 is 35 plus 6 is 41. That will make that a 4. And because to finish that cage off, it makes that an 8. What that's done for me, by the way, is it's made this a 2 and a 3 and this a 1 and a 5. So if that's 1 and 5 and 4, this has to be 6 and 7. Now, I won't remember that, but I'm just telling you the maths. Here is a cage with 24. Now, for a cage of 3 for 24, that is the addition of 9, 7 and 8. 8's going to be in that row there because of that 8 there. Let's do this. Remember how I said 45 is a row of 45? Well, 2 rows is 90, 45 plus 45. I have a spare cage there, so let's add it up. 11 plus 11 is 22, 35, 47, 57, 72, 79, so that should be 11, and if I've added up correctly, it should be a 7, which I did. Okay, so what that means here is I now know that's a 7 and 8, so that means that's a 9. What it's also done is it's given me that spare cage there. So if I add across here, that's going to add up to more than 45 with that number there, or less than 45 without that number, and that will be the number. So 6 plus 8 is 12, plus 7 is 19, plus 5 is... No, that's not right. So 6 is 18, plus 7 is 25, 30, 39, 6, and to finish that cage off, to add up to 8 is a 2. Okay, so we've done some things here. You can see here this has got a cage that creeped over, but it's 2 numbers, so it might be a bit harder. I can also do this. 15, 8 and 7, plus 10 is 25, 35, so that there is actually going to be 10, and that's going to be 6. So that's going to be 1 and 5. Does that help me? I know that's 8 and 7. 1 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to say to that is that can't be a 4 because 4 and 4 can't be in that. So that's going to be a 4 and that will be a 3. That will be a 5. Quick adding to the 8. Let's go back. 15 plus 10. So remember that was actually 10. So that's a 6. So now what we know is that is a 6 in that column. This here is going to be 1 and 9, which makes sense. Alright. So somewhere down there's got to be a 1 because that's a 1 and 9, that's a 1 and 2. I did say that was 1 and 5, so if that's 1 and 2, that has to be a 1, that has to be a 5. So 6 and 7, remember I said that that's 7 and 8, well if 6 and 7's there, that must be a 7, that must be an 8. I thought I pressed the wrong button then, that was nearly a mistake. So what I now have is I've got that spare cage because of that 7 plus 7 is 14, 26, 37, 8, 3. So this is going to be 2 and 9. So somewhere that's could be 9 and 2 there. So if we have a look here, 9 can't be there because that adds 9 plus 2 numbers is going to add up to above 10. So that's 9 and 2, 6 and 7. So this is 1, 4 and 5 of some sort of order. Okay, so let's do this. 18 plus 8 is 26, 38. So this has to add up to 7. So 2 and 5, 3 and 4. Okay, both of those are going to happen. Not great. So that's 9 and 2. That can't be 2 and 5. So 5 is there. And then that's the other two. 6 and 1. So that's 5, 6 and 1. Which means that's 3 and 4. Which means that's 2. That's 3. So if that's 3 and 4, that's 4. And that's going to be 1 and 5. So I've got the 5 there. So that's 1 and that's 5. Which makes sense because remember I said that was 9 and 1. What I now have is I have 3 and 4 there, 2 and 9 there, 6 and 7. So I pretty much know those numbers there. After all the chatting and everything, I've just noticed that that's a loose cage there. So 2 and 20 is 22, plus 10 is 32. To get it up to 45 is 13, so that's a 2. And what that means for me is the 2 and 2. 2 and 2 means that cell there has got to be a 2. Adding up to 10 makes that an 8, which makes that the 8, and that the 7. Okay, still 1 and 9 there. Have I got 3 and 4? No, 3 and 4 is still hurting me. So 3 and 4 is going to be in here with 7 and 6. So 7 is going to be in that column and 6 is going to be in that column. I now have a spare cage here. So 2, so 12 plus 24 is 36, plus 2 is 38, so that's going to be a 7. Then it will make that a 7, which is 2 and 5 because of that. Look at this. Obviously I'm not working around the board that well because that's an 8 and 9. Remember that's a 9 and 1, so that's a 9, that's a 1. So somewhere down here we've got a 9. I distinctly remember that's going to be a 2 and that's going to be a 9, and the reason, I don't know why I took so long with that, because that 2 there, and that 2 has been there since the start of the game, so I'm not entirely sure what I was doing there. What's interesting here is 1, that's going to be actually that's a 1 there and that's a 2 there, so these two columns have got to be 1. Now 1 plus 2 digits does not make 20, so the highest two numbers are 9 and 8, which is 17, so the other number has to be a 3 minimum. So that's a 1. That's left me a 12 there. So at this point in time, it can be 5 and 7 or 8 and 4. Okay. So 1, 6 and 7. I'm just going to add these up for interest. So 1 and 2 is 3, plus 19 is 22, plus 9 is 31, plus 4 is 35. Now, remember this is 6 and 7, so that would mean this would be a 6 and that would be a 4. Not possible, so that's a 7 and that's a 3. What that does for me makes that 8 and 9. So remember I told you before 8 and 9 is the highest number. 8's there, so that's an 8. And that's a 9. Okay. So we can see here that 9 is in that box there. We can see that this is 4 and 6, which makes that 5 and 7. 5 and 7. So 7 is going to be in that column there. I actually can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So 9 is still there, 8 and 9. 6 and 4, 5 and 1. So 1, 2, so 8 could be 1 and 3. And if you look there, it has to be an 8 there. So that's 8, so that's got to be a 1 there, That's got to be a 1 there. That has to be a 5. Okay, so 3 and 8 is there. 1, 2, 4, 6. So 6, 4, 7, 3, 3, 4, 6. So 6 and 4 there. That still hasn't helped me. 1 has to be there or there. The other 2 digits are 5 and 6, so I still don't know that. 7, 2 and 9, there's a 2 there, so that's going to be the 2 there. That's going to be the 9. 9 is that one there, and that means that's the 9, that's the 8, that's the 8, that's the 3. So 3 can be here or here, but because of the 8 can't be there, so that's going to be the 3 there. That leaves me with 7, which is going to be 1 and 6. So 1 and 6, which leaves me that 1 there, that's the 6 there, that's the 5 there. So 1, well, that was a quick number. 2, it's got that there, so 1. So this is going to be 7 and 4, because of that 4 there, that's a 4, and that's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Makes sense. 5 is going to be there. That leaves me with 14, which has got to be 8 and 6. 8, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 16, 20, that's a 3. Okay, so that's a 4 there. Leaving that as the 4 and the 6, and that's a 6 there, and that's a 5 there. Alright, we've just done an expert killer Sudoku. Apparently this is telling me that this is about 2.5 minutes faster than my average. We did it in just over 12 minutes. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, bye for now.